me describe someone to you and tell me if this sounds familiar. They make $68,000 a year. They're educated, working a professional job, managing their responsibilities. They're not financially reckless. They pay their bills. They're not drowning in debt. But somehow, at the end of every month, there's barely anything left. They look at their bank account and think, where did it all go? I didn't buy anything extravagant. And they're right. They didn't buy anything extravagant. No luxury purchases, no shopping sprees, no fancy vacations. They just lived their life. They ordered dinner a few times because they worked late. They got coffee on the way to work because they didn't have time to make it at home. They paid for grocery delivery because going to the store is a hassle. They subscribed to a meal kit service because planning meals is exhausting. They bought pre-cut vegetables because chopping takes too long. They paid for express shipping because waiting 3 days feels like forever. They hired someone to mow the lawn because who has time for that? Small conveniences, reasonable choices, totally justifiable decisions that millions of people make every single day. But here's what they don't realize. Those small conveniences are costing them double, sometimes triple what the non-convenient version costs. And when you add up all those convenience premiums across all the categories of spending in a month, they're paying an extra $800 to $1,200 per month just to avoid minor inconveniences. That's $9,600 to $14,400 per year. Over a 30-year working life, that's $432,000 in cash spent on convenience. But the real cost is even worse, because that money, if invested instead of spent, would become $1.6 million by retirement. They're not broke because they're irresponsible. They're broke because they've been sold the lie that convenience is worth any price, that time is more valuable than money, that you deserve to avoid inconvenience. And companies have built trillion-dollar industries around charging you double for doing 10% less work. If you've ever paid extra for convenience and felt good about it, if you've ever justified an upcharge because you were busy, if you've ever looked at your spending and wondered where all the money went, this video is going to make you angry. And then it's going to save you over $1 million. My name's John, and I spend way too much time calculating the real cost of modern convenience culture. And what I've discovered is genuinely disturbing. We're living in the most expensive era of human history, not because things cost more to produce, but because we've been conditioned to pay premiums for avoiding the smallest amounts of effort. And the markup on convenience is absolutely insane. If this resonates with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because what I'm about to show you could change your financial life forever. Here's the thing that most people don't understand about convenience pricing. The actual cost difference between the convenient version and the non-convenient version is usually minimal from the seller's perspective, but the price difference they charge you is enormous. Why? Because they're not charging you for the product or the service. They're charging you for your own impatience. They're charging you for your own lack of planning. They're charging you for your own desire to avoid minor discomfort. And they figured out that people will pay almost any premium to avoid effort. This didn't happen by accident. Over the last 20 years, consumer companies have spent billions studying behavioral psychology, understanding decision fatigue, exploiting time scarcity, and engineering products and services that make you feel like you don't have time to do things the cheaper way. They've created an entire ecosystem where the default option is expensive and the cheap option is hidden, inconvenient, or socially stigmatized. And it's working. Americans now spend more on convenience than ever before in history. The convenience economy is estimated to be worth over $1.5 trillion annually. That's trillion with a T. That's money coming directly out of your pocket for things you could easily do yourself. Let me show you how this actually works across different categories, because I need you to see the pattern. Once you understand the markup, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can't justify paying it anymore. Let's start with food, because this is where most people are bleeding money without realizing it. Category 1, prepared and prepackaged food versus cooking from scratch. A rotisserie chicken at the grocery store costs about $8. Sounds reasonable, right? Convenient, ready to eat, no effort required. But a whole raw chicken costs $6. The store literally just cooked it for you. You're paying 33% more to avoid 45 minutes of roasting time in your oven. But let's go deeper. Pre-cut vegetables. A bag of pre-cut broccoli florets costs $4.50 for 1 pound. A whole head of broccoli costs $1.80 for the same amount. You're paying 150% more to avoid 2 minutes of cutting. Pre-shredded cheese. A bag of shredded cheddar costs $5.50 for 8 ounces. A block of the same cheddar costs $4.20 for 8 ounces. You're paying 31% more to avoid 30 seconds of grating. Pre-washed salad. A bag of pre-washed lettuce costs $4 for 5 ounces. A head of lettuce costs $2 for 16 ounces. You're paying 540% more per ounce to avoid 1 minute of washing and tearing. Individual serving snacks. A box of 12 individual chip bags costs $6. That's 50 cents per ounce. A family-size bag of the same chips costs $4 for 16 ounces. That's 25 cents per ounce. You're paying 100% more for individual packaging. Bottled water. We already covered this, but it's worth repeating. Bottled water costs about $1 per bottle on average. Tap water costs $0.004 per gallon. You're paying 2,000% more to avoid filling a reusable bottle. Let's add it up. The average American family buying convenient prepackaged versions of food instead of basic ingredients is spending an extra $200 to $300 per month. That's $2,400 to $3,600 per year just on food convenience premiums. Over 30 years, that's $72,000 to $108,000 in cash. Invested at 10% returns, that becomes $396,000 to $594,000. You're giving up $500,000 in retirement wealth to avoid cutting vegetables and shredding cheese. Let me show you two. Food delivery and meal services versus cooking at home or picking up yourself. This is where the convenience premium gets truly obscene. A meal at a restaurant costs $15. The same meal delivered through DoorDash or Uber Eats costs $15 for the food, plus $3 in delivery fees, plus $2 in service fees, plus a $3 tip, plus taxes. Total cost, about $25. You're paying 67% more to avoid a 10-minute drive. But wait, let's compare that to making the same meal at home. A chicken burrito bowl. At Chipotle, it costs $12. Delivered, it costs $20 with all the fees. Made at home, with rice, beans, chicken, salsa, and toppings bought from the grocery store, it costs about $4 per serving. The delivered version costs 400% more than the homemade version. The picked-up version costs 200% more than the homemade version. If you're eating out or ordering delivery instead of cooking just 10 times per month, you're spending an extra $160 per month. That's $1,920 per year. Over 30 years invested, that's $334,000 in retirement wealth gone. But let's talk about meal kit services, because these are marketed as the smart middle ground. Blue Apron, HelloFresh, all these services. They send you pre-portioned ingredients and recipes. Sounds great, right? Convenient, but you're still cooking. Except they cost $10 to $12 per serving. The same meal made from grocery store ingredients costs $4 to $5 per serving. You're paying 120% more for someone to put ingredients in a box and ship them to you. If you're using meal kits for dinner 5 nights a week instead of buying groceries, you're spending an extra $250 per month. That's $3,000 per year. Over 30 years invested, that's $522,000. $500,000 to avoid meal planning and grocery shopping. Category 3. Subscriptions and services versus doing it yourself. This is the category that sneaks up on people because each individual subscription seems so small. Lawn care service, $80 per month. A lawnmower costs $300 and lasts 10 years. That's $30 per year, or $2.50 per month. You're paying 3,100% more to avoid 1 hour per week of mowing. House cleaning service, $120 per visit, twice a month. That's $240 per month. Cleaning supplies cost maybe $30 per month. You're paying 700% more to avoid 3 hours per week of cleaning. Car wash subscription, $30 per month. A bucket, soap, and sponge cost $20 and last a year. That's $1.67 per month. You're paying 1,700% more to avoid 20 minutes per week of washing your car. Grocery delivery subscription, $15 per month plus $10 in markups per order. If you order twice a week, that's $95 per month. Driving to the store yourself costs maybe $5 per month in gas. You're paying 1,800% more to avoid 1 hour per week of grocery shopping. Add these up. The average person paying for these convenience services is spending an extra $365 per month compared to doing these tasks themselves. That's $4,380 per year. Over 30 years invested, that's $762,000, $762,000 to avoid a few hours per week of basic household tasks. Category 4, express shipping and instant gratification versus waiting. This is the newest and fastest growing convenience premium. Amazon Prime same-day delivery, free if you're a Prime member, but you're paying $139 per year for the membership. Standard shipping on most sites is free if you wait 5 days. Express shipping costs $10 to $20 to get it in 2 days. Overnight shipping costs $30 to $50. You're paying 300 to 500% more to get something 2 or 3 days earlier. But here's what's insane. Studies show that 60% of express shipping purchases are for items that are not urgent. You don't actually need the item overnight, you just don't want to wait. You're paying $30 extra because waiting 4 days feels annoying. If you're paying for express shipping just twice a month, that's $40 per month or $480 per year. Over 30 years invested, that's $83,000. You're giving up $83,000 in retirement wealth because waiting a few days feels uncomfortable. Category 5, convenience stores and gas stations versus planning ahead. Buying anything at a convenience store or gas station is paying the maximum possible convenience premium. A bottle of soda at a convenience store costs $2.50. The same bottle at a grocery store costs $1.25. You're paying 100% more. A bag of chips at a gas station costs $3. At a grocery store, it costs $1.50. You're paying 100% more. A bottle of water at a convenience store costs $2. From your tap at home, it costs $0.004. You're paying 50,000% more. Car wash. The average person stops at a convenience store or gas station 3 times per week for small purchases. Average spend per visit, $6. That's $18 per week, $936 per year. The same items bought at a grocery store during your regular shopping would cost $468 per year. You're paying an extra $468 per year, or $81,000 over 30 years invested, for not planning ahead. Now, let's add all of this up because I need you to see the full picture. Pre-packaged convenient food, extra $300 per month. Food delivery and meal kits, extra $250 per month. Convenience services for household tasks, extra $365 per month. Express shipping, extra $40 per month. Convenience store purchases, extra $39 per month. Total convenience premium, $994 per month. Let's call it $1,000 per month to make the math easy. That's $12,000 per year that you're spending on convenience premiums. You're not buying luxury items. You're not being frivolous. You're just choosing the convenient option instead of the inconvenient option across dozens of small decisions every month. And those decisions are costing you $12,000 per year. Over 30 years, that's $360,000 in cash spent. But the real cost is the investment opportunity. $12,000 per year invested at 10% annual returns for 30 years becomes $2.17 million. $2.17 million. The convenience premium is costing you $2.17 million in retirement wealth. Let that sink in. You could retire at 55 instead of 70. You could leave your kids a 7-figure inheritance. You could be financially independent. But instead, you're paying companies to do things you could easily do yourself because you've been conditioned to believe your time is too valuable and convenience is priceless. It's not. Convenience has a very specific price, and that price is $2.17 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, but John, my time is valuable. I work 50 hours a week. I'm exhausted. I don't have time to cook every meal and mow my lawn and wash my car and go to the grocery store. The convenience is worth it because it buys me time. And I get it. That argument makes sense on the surface. But let's actually do the math on whether convenience is buying you meaningful time. The average take food delivery. Ordering delivery saves you the drive to the restaurant and back. That's about 20 minutes round trip. But you still have to browse the app, place the order, wait for delivery, usually 30 to 45 minutes, and then deal with the food when it arrives. Total time from opening the app to eating, about 50 minutes. If you had driven to pick it up yourself, you'd spend 10 minutes ordering, 20 minutes driving round trip, and start eating immediately when you get home. Total time, 30 minutes. Delivery actually costs you 20 extra minutes compared to pickup. You're paying $10 in fees to wait longer. Let's take grocery delivery. Ordering groceries online and having them delivered saves you the trip to the store. That's about 45 minutes round trip plus 30 minutes shopping. Total time saved, 75 minutes. But you have to spend 30 minutes browsing and ordering online, and then you have to wait 2 hours for delivery and be home to receive it. So you save 75 minutes of active time, but lose 2 hours of flexibility. Is that trade worth $20 in fees and markups? Only if your time in those specific 75 minutes is worth more than $16 per hour. For most people, it's not. Let's take meal kits. They save you meal planning and grocery shopping, about 2 hours per week. But you still have to cook, which takes the same amount of time as if you'd bought groceries yourself. So you're saving 2 hours per week and paying an extra $250 per month, or about $60 per week. That means you're valuing your time at $30 per hour. But here's the question. Are you actually using those 2 hours to do something worth $30 per hour, or are you using them to scroll social media and watch Netflix? If it's the latter, you're not buying valuable time, you're buying leisure time. And leisure time isn't worth $30 per hour when it's preventing you from building $2.17 million in wealth. The convenience economy has sold you the idea that any amount of time saved is worth any amount of money, but that's mathematically absurd. Your time has value, but it's not infinite value. And the time being saved by most convenience purchases is minimal. We're talking about minutes, not hours. And those minutes are usually not high-value time. They're transition time, waiting time, minor errand time. Paying $10 to $20 to save 15 minutes is valuing your time at $40 to $80 per hour. Unless you're a lawyer or a surgeon billing at those rates, you're overpaying. Here's the deeper psychological trap. Convenience isn't actually about time. It's about effort avoidance. It's about not wanting to cook, not wanting to drive, not wanting to wait, not wanting to plan, not wanting to do basic tasks that require minor amounts of physical or mental energy. We've become so soft, so averse to inconvenience that we're willing to pay double or triple to avoid chopping vegetables or waiting 3 days for a package. And companies have figured out how to monetize that softness. They've reframed laziness as self-care. They've reframed impatience as efficiency. They've reframed lack of planning as being too busy. And they've convinced millions of people that paying convenience premiums is a sign of success. I'm too successful to cook my own meals. I'm too important to mow my own lawn. I'm too busy to grocery shop. But the reality is that you're too broke to retire because you're spending $1 million to avoid minor inconveniences. Let me show you what life looks like if you opt out of the convenience economy. Meet Rachel. Rachel makes $65,000 a year. She used to spend about $1,000 per month on convenience premiums, food delivery, meal kits, pre-cut vegetables, lawn service, house cleaner, express shipping, all of it. Then she calculated the real cost and had a realization. She could either have convenience now or freedom later. She couldn't have both. So she made changes. She stopped ordering delivery and started meal prepping on Sundays. 2 hours of cooking yields 5 dinners for the week. She stopped buying pre-cut vegetables and started doing the cutting herself, 5 extra minutes per meal. She stopped using meal kits and started planning her grocery trips, 1 hour per week to plan and shop. She canceled the lawn service and bought a used lawnmower for $150, 1 hour per week to mow. She canceled the house cleaner and started cleaning her own apartment, 2 hours per week spread across daily 15-minute sessions. She stopped paying for express shipping and started planning purchases in advance. Here's total time added to her weekly schedule, about 6 hours. That's less than 1 hour per day. In exchange, she saved $1,000 per month, or $12,000 per year. She invested that money in index funds. After 30 years, she'll have $2.17 million. She traded 6 hours per week of minor effort for $2.17 million in retirement wealth. That's 9,360 hours over 30 years. She's being paid $232 per hour, tax-free, for cooking her own meals, mowing her own lawn, and cleaning her own apartment. But here's what's even better. Rachel's life didn't get worse, it got better. She's healthier because she's cooking real food instead of eating restaurant meals. She's more active because she's mowing and cleaning instead of sitting on the couch. She's less stressed because she has $2.17 million growing in her investment account. She sleeps better knowing she's financially secure. She has the freedom to quit her job if it gets toxic. She can retire at 55 if she wants, all because she was willing to do basic tasks that humans have been doing for thousands of years. Now compare Rachel to Michael. Michael also makes $65,000 a year. He pays for all the conveniences. He orders delivery, uses meal kits, pays for services, gets express shipping, all of it. He values his time. He deserves convenience. He's too busy to cook. After 30 years, he's saved maybe $50,000 in retirement. He's still working at 70 because he can't afford not to. He's stressed about money constantly. He has no freedom, no options, no security. But hey, at least he didn't have to mow his own lawn. The difference between Rachel and Michael isn't intelligence. It's not income. It's not opportunity. It's one decision repeated consistently over time. Choose effort and wealth, or choose convenience and poverty. You can't have both. The math doesn't work. The convenience economy is designed to extract maximum money from you in exchange for minimum effort savings. And if you participate, you will end up broke. It's that simple. Here's what I want you to do. Pull up your bank and credit card statements for the last month. Go through every transaction. Identify every convenience premium you paid. Food delivery fees, meal kit charges, pre-packaged food markups, service subscriptions for tasks you could do yourself, express shipping fees, convenience store purchases. Add it all up. That number, whatever it is, multiply it by 12 for the annual cost, then multiply it by 174. That's what it becomes over 30 years invested at 10% returns. That's your real cost of convenience. That's what you're giving up. Total, most people, that number is going to be between $1 million and $3 million. You're giving up millionaire status to avoid minor inconveniences. You're giving up financial freedom to save a few minutes here and there. You're giving up early retirement to avoid effort. And the worst part is, you didn't even realize you were making that trade. Nobody told you. The companies taking your money certainly didn't tell you. They just kept making it easier and easier to pay the premium and harder to choose the non-convenient option. But now you know. You can't unknow this. Every time you order delivery, you're going to think about the $10 in fees. Every time you buy pre-cut vegetables, you're going to think about the 150% markup. Every time you pay for express shipping, you're going to think about the opportunity cost. And that awareness is going to change your behavior. You're going to start choosing differently. You're going to start opting out of the convenience economy, not because you're cheap, but because you're smart. Here's the framework for opting out. First, distinguish between real value convenience and lazy convenience. Real value convenience is paying for things that save you meaningful time that you use productively. For example, if you're a consultant billing $200 per hour and hiring a house cleaner for $120 saves you 3 hours that you spend working and earning $600, that's real value. You're up $480. That's worth it. Lazy convenience is paying to avoid effort when the time saved is minimal or when you're not using the time productively. Paying $10 to have food delivered when you're just going to watch TV anyway is lazy convenience. Paying $5 for pre-cut broccoli when cutting it yourself takes 2 minutes is lazy convenience. Paying $20 for express shipping when you don't actually need the item urgently is lazy convenience. Cut all lazy convenience immediately. It's destroying your wealth. Most people. Second, batch tasks to reduce the time cost. Instead of going to the grocery store 3 times a week, go once and buy for the whole week. Instead of cooking dinner every night, meal prep on Sunday and Wednesday. Instead of doing laundry every day, do it once a week. Batching makes the non-convenient option more time efficient, which makes the convenience premium even more unjustifiable. Third, reframe effort as wealth building. Every time you choose to do something yourself instead of paying for convenience, you're not being cheap, you're being paid. You're investing in your future. When you cook instead of ordering delivery, you're not sacrificing, you're earning $20. When you mow your lawn instead of paying the service, you're not suffering, you're earning $80. When you cut your own vegetables instead of buying pre-cut, you're earning $2.70. Reframe the effort as earning money, and it becomes motivating instead of demotivating. Fourth, automate the savings. Every time you avoid a convenience premium, immediately transfer that amount to your investment account. Didn't order delivery? Transfer $25. Didn't buy the meal kit? Transfer $60. Didn't pay for express shipping? Transfer $15. Make the savings visible and immediate so you feel the benefit just as strongly as you feel the effort. Second, I'll leave you with one final thought because I think it changes everything. The convenience economy is a trap, but it's a trap you can escape. Every other financial trap we've talked about on this channel, student loans, car payments, the two-income trap, those are hard to escape once you're in them. They require years of discipline and sacrifice. But the convenience trap is different. You can escape it today, right now, this moment. Just stop paying for convenience. Cook your own meals, cut your own vegetables, mow your own lawn, clean your own house, go to the store yourself, wait for standard shipping. It's not hard, it's not complicated, it's not risky. It just requires you to do basic tasks that every human did 30 years ago before the convenience economy existed. Our grandparents did all these things and they didn't consider it a hardship, they considered it life. We've been conditioned to see basic self-sufficiency as beneath us, as a sign of failure, as something to be avoided. But the truth is that self-sufficiency is wealth. Dependence on convenience is poverty. The families who build lasting wealth aren't the ones outsourcing every task and paying every premium. They're the ones doing things themselves and investing the difference. They're the ones who understand that effort today is freedom tomorrow. They're the ones who opted out of the convenience trap before it destroyed their financial future. You can be one of those families. You can make that choice right now. Stop paying double for laziness. Start building wealth instead. If this video changed how you think about convenience, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the Penny Plan for more content that exposes the financial traps keeping you broke. The convenience premium is costing you $2.17 million. The question is, are you going to keep paying it? Leave you with